of course, we will recap all the top stories we carried over the past week. It is now time for your main newscast for today, Sunday, August 22nd, and my name is Joshua Van Slykeman. Thank you for joining us. Let's get to the news in details. A security guard employed with Australian mining company Troy Resources Incorporated dropped dead on Friday while he and his colleagues were reportedly chasing off local pork knockers from gold lands his company rents for only 1,000 Ghana dollars per acre. The gold land that the guard was protecting at the time he collapsed are part of the company's gold project located in Region 7, District of Guyana. The dead security guard has since been identified as 36-year-old Zenier Fraser. According to a press release sent out last evening by the Ministry of Labour, it noted that an investigation has been launched to determine how Fraser died. We were told that Fraser collapsed around 10 hours that day while on patrol duties with other security guards. Based on information received, he was still alive after he collapsed and his colleague had rushed him back to the base. From there, he was placed in a vehicle which reportedly sped off to transport him to the Madhya District Hospital, but he died on the way. Kaieteur learned from persons who were reportedly seen when Fraser had collapsed that his colleagues were alerted that a group of pork knockers described as punters were illegally raiding the company's lands. The success of Guyana's proposed 900 million gas-to-shore energy project is dependent on the offtake of electricity being generated as part of an interconnected grid, including French Guiana, Brazil, and neighboring Suriname. A conclusion determined by the Inter-American Development Bank since back in 2017. This since, according to Guyana's President Irfan Ali, there still remains significantly uncertainty on the project and the Accra North Master Plan, developed in 2017 by the IDB, is indeed the backbone behind a proposed joint summit between the countries. President Ali made disclosure on Thursday last following 2 days of talks with neighboring head of state Suriname's counterpart Chandrika Prasad Santokhi. The two-led delegation that met and agreed on the joint development of a natural gas master strategy, taking into account the potential resources available to the two countries in their offshore basin. More importantly, the Arco North Electrical Interconnection Study. The Guyanese leadership has in recent months been making repeated attempts at luring members of its diaspora to return and invest in their homeland. Vice President Barrett Jagdeo is cautioning, however, that while his administration is keen on capitalizing on the potential of the country's diaspora, we don't have many high-paying opportunities in government. He was at the time the featured speaker during a panel discussion in Guyana and its future in lighting of its emerging oil and gas industry while in Houston, Texas for the 2021 Offshore Technology Conference. To this end, the Vice President is of the view that those in the diaspora looking to return and contribute to the development of the country would have to indeed seek opportunities in the private sector, particularly as it relates to the country's emerging oil and gas sector. This is your main newscast for today, Sunday, August 22nd. 2 men were arrested on Friday after they attempted to bribe a police inspector to drop an ongoing investigation into the sale of a tampered vehicle. Ralph Bagot, a 35-year-old bus driver who reside at Kurukaruru in the Suicide-Linden Highway, and George Stanglin, a 35-year-old mechanic, a resident of Sparendam on the east coast of Demerara, were on Friday arrested on a fraudulent imitation of an identification mark charge by police rank at the Golden Grove Police Station. According to the police, the bribery incident occurred at around 16 hours 15 at the Golden Grove Police Station. The bus driver was in custody at the station at the said time, facing all the charges, when he made contact with an inspector and offered him $200,000 to forego prosecution of the allegation of fraudulent imitation, among other offenses. Meanwhile, noted Guyanese academic Dr. Terence Blackman has recently posited that Guyana can still beat the resource curse that often befalls countries possessing significant reserves of resources of crude oil, rubber, natural gas, or rare earth commodities. Guyana can do this by learning from and implementing similar strategies from 4 nations that survived the resource curse. ExxonMobil initiated an oil and gas exploration activities in Guyana in 2008. Since then, the discovery rate of significantly high-quality oil wells on the Stabroek Block has been nothing short of amazing. The gross recoverable resource for the Stabroek Block is now estimated to be more than 9 billion oil equivalent barrels, with its first exploration well, the Liza-1, being drilled in 2015. The Payara, the Snoke, the Liza Deep, and the Turbout discoveries following in 2017 and 2018, ExxonMobil announced that the Ranger, Longtail, Hammerhead, and Pluma discoveries. In 2019, the Yellowtail and Marco discoveries emerged, and in 2020, the Uara and the Yellow 2 and the Redtail discoveries were announced. Dr. Blackman notes that the sheer volume of these discoveries confirms that the Guyanese people are based within an opportunity for a fundamental transformation. He, however, notes that to make it happen, Guyana must overcome the resource curse. Get the full details in today's Kaieteur News. In this 10 hours 24, it's time for us to turn our attention to your COVID-19 updates. The Ministry of Health in a statement yesterday reported that 177 new infections were recorded from 1,271 tests, which were carried out over a 24-hour period, taking the total overall number of confirmed cases since March 2020 to 24,224. No deaths were recorded in the statement, ensuring that the overall death toll remains at 591. 16 patients are presently housed in the COVID-19 intensive care unit at the Infectious Disease Hospital. 103 persons are in institutional isolation, 1,197 persons are isolated at home, and 5 persons are in institutional quarantine. To date, 22,318 persons have recovered from the virus. And that brings an end to your main newscast right here at Kaieteur Radio and, of course, your week in review. Let me remind you that you can get the full details of these stories and much more by picking up a copy of the Kaieteur News at the newsstand near you, or head across to our website at kaieteurnewsonline.com. I'm Joshua Van Sleckman. Thank you for joining us. Have a great remainder of your Sunday morning, and encouraging you to join us at 11 o'clock for the rebroadcast of last Monday's edition of The Glenn Lal Show. Have a great remainder of your Sunday.